Shocking things launch gurus won't tell you. Hello, everyone. My name is Tessa. I'm with the IdeaPros marketing team, and I have special guest Simon Solotko, who is CMO or Chief Marketing Officer at IdeaPros. And we're bringing you this topic, which I think is really, really timely because we have a lot of launches. IdeaPros is launching a lot of partners right now, but the big picture of what is it that we're not being told? What things have you experienced, Simon, in particular, and other gurus are basically not telling us?
Hi, Tessa. It's good to be talking to the IdeaPros folks out there. Can everybody chat and respond in real time?
Let us know if you're watching with the hashtag live. I see Mary and Michael, Ed over there. Hello, everyone. Yes, let us know in the chat if you're live or if you're catching us on the replay so we know you're there. If you don't chat, we don't see you.
So I love the Matrix. And in the Matrix, it deals with many contradictions or challenges of the intersection of the digital world and the real world. And so in the Matrix, there is this famous scene with the spoon. And the spoon is there, but the spoon is just in the digital world. And the truth is, there is no spoon. Well, one of the things we're going to do today is we're going to take the blue pill, which is the pill that helps you forget reality, and we're going to toss it out the window. And we're going to embrace the red pill and the reality of product launch and marketing. And one of the first realities is to take away the notion of a launch and to say, there is no launch.
I love it. That is an amazing analogy. You are so right. We're going to take away the reality of the launch. There is no launch. So what do you mean by that, Simon? A lot of people are probably like, what's going on today's live? Not sure.
So, one of the things to think about in marketing is we do things in marketing that concentrate energy in moments. The simple word for these is a campaign, right? Where we do a sequence of things or a series of coordinated activities whose job it is to rise above the noise of everyone else in the world and give you your moment to shine and to show potential consumers and customers who you are and what you can do and how you can make an impact on their life, and thereby induce buy or consideration and purchase by consumers. The challenge we have in marketing is when you launch a new product, you start pre-selling it, then you start selling it, then you start delivering it. Those are all business operations that are ongoing for your business. At the same time, you're doing marketing stuff that starts way before then and ends way after then. Now, when you launch a new product or solution, you try to create a swell of activity that leverages the fact that you are new. And when you are new, you are more newsworthy, and often consumers can have heightened interest in who you are and what you're doing. So you take advantage of that special moment of time. You build a number of interlocking activities, which usually are comprised of awesome messages, awesome visuals, and broad reach. Those are your objectives. And then clear calls to action, reasons to come by, and then making that transactional flow awesome. You do that little hump of activity around launch, or that big hump of activity. However, if you spend all that money and all those resources, and it's a lot of money and often a lot of resources to do that, and it doesn't build momentum, then it's a waste, because what you're doing is you're going to try to generate a bunch of transactions. And unless those activities somehow have a lasting impact on the world at large, then their benefit will be short-lived. So in launch, what we attempt to do is we attempt to create a lot of noise with strong calls to action to come and to consider purchase, but we also try to create things that have lasting indelibility on the digital web or in the minds of potential consumers and buyers. And the way we do that is there's a lot of things. We build our network, we build our business network, we build SEO, we create social media followings, we engage audiences, we create mailing lists. So there are a bunch of different tactics which fall under that philosophy of trying to build marketing momentum. And we often call this sequence of events that pass through what generally people think of as launch as rolling thunder, which is you want to create thunderclaps of noise through time that are associated with your product, and ideally that build momentum around the product in ways that are additive. So you concentrate on specific channels and you keep making those bigger. You concentrate on certain audiences and you keep building the love. And in your product, you keep fleshing out the product and building features that make you the most awesome version of what that thing can be. So everyone knows to go to you when they want a solution to the problem you're solving, or they want the product or service that you offer, knowing you're the best, you're the most awesome, and you're also the most easily found.
I have to say this is a huge thing, because I hear from a lot of people, what's my launch date? And that's what, like we said, there is no launch, because it's actually those intense claps in that thunder roll that's a longer term that keeps the sustained momentum up for your product launch. And each one is a campaign, is a small, and not small, you want it to be a high impact, but it's a piece, and each piece is going to come together in that launch process. And right off the bat, there's a lot of testing that goes into when you're launching, you're releasing this to customers. There's a lot, and I don't know if you want to go into all.
So let's talk about the earliest stages. So now that we've kind of given the big picture, let's talk about some of the steps along the journey, right? So what happens early, what happens in the middle, and what happens at the end. But before I do that, I'm going to talk about one of the things that no marketing guru will tell you, and that is the most important thing you can do in marketing. The number one most important thing you can do is this: write your plans down. If you don't write your plans down, if you don't write your ideas down, and these days we have great collaborative tools like the whole Google Docs portfolio that allow you to take the things you write down and share them with people who are specialists in marketing, people who are your target customers, and ask for feedback and get that feedback so you can, around your own marketing plan, build momentum and knowledge through documentation. And if you're not good at documentation, get someone on your team who is. This process of writing it down is critical. Go ahead.
And that includes your goals for your launch. Because if you just saying I'm going to launch and not having a clear desired outcome, beginning with the end in mind, your whole campaign's built around what it is that you're trying to accomplish in that launch, being able to give that in a documented form and come back to it.
And maybe your goals are wrong. And so part of the feedback process in planning is, so in the earliest stage, Tessa, that's one of the things you're trying to assess, which is what ought my goals be, right? When we deal with a new product, we don't necessarily know how consumers are going to respond to it, right? And so one of the things we try to do is early on figure out, well, how are they going to respond to it, both quantitatively and qualitatively? The best kind of research you can do is generally just go talk to people. Once you talk to people often, they'll give you a lot of great feedback. Some people are so secretive with their idea in the earliest stages, because that's where we're going to start, early stage, that they don't share it. And when they don't share it, they build up all these ideas about how they think consumers are going to respond to their idea. And some of those ideas may be dead on and visionary, and some of those ideas may be dead wrong. And it is very, very hard. Also, you may have come up with a killer product or solution, but it may lack certain absolutely critical features. People are experienced in life. They're experienced going places and doing things with various products. And they generally, if they see your product in a quick description, they'll be able to very quickly envision how that would fit into their life. And they're very quickly going to say, and it doesn't do X. And because it doesn't do X, I can't use it. Right. And so you really want to hear that earlier on than later.
Feedback.
So customer feedback early in the process. And it can be as simple as, hey, what do people think about it? And you have to find ways to reveal your product in an adequate audience to get feedback, even if you're trying to be secretive. Tricky.
And we talk about that with surveys in the IdeaPros structure. That's what we use customer surveys for. We, as you're going through the launch process, you might do a soft launch. And I know you're going to go through all this, but not soft launch. Yeah, tell us what that might be, but it's to a smaller, targeted.
Yeah, and so generally the IdeaPros team is big. So we actually have a pretty good sample, or we know people who do. So we're able to keep things secret at scale, right? So if you've got a new idea, we've got a bunch of people who've probably dealt with that product category before, either personally or professionally. And so that's one of the advantages of having teams help you, is the collective knowledge of that team is often much greater than you could assume. So in the earliest stages, you both do this informal and formal market research, which Tessa just discussed. The other thing we like to do is, once we kind of know what it is and we've got a version of the product or a prototype, often we'll try to create a landing page for the product and start to see if we can generate any transactional interest. Will people go there? Will people fill out, provide an email address? If they do so, will they contact the founder and want to chat about the product and have some special insights? So very early in the life of a product, even before it exists, often we try to get something out there, some points of aggregation for people online, something that everyone can point to. So for your potential investors, for your potential customers, they have a destination.
Right. And there's a couple versions. There's awareness. So that's just general. You don't have anything, no pre-sale going on. It's just, hey, this is coming. It's a generic page that can capture your leads. And you've heard Fred say it a million times, you have to build your list way, way early. So that's a very early on landing page. But then you can do purchase intent, which might be something to the extent of $1 purchase or some low commitment to get into a discount. And then you can also do pre-order, depending on where you're at in that launch cycle. So those are just early stage, pieces that you can do in that launch process for those big clap moments.
The other thing you're doing is preparing material. So in that early stage, as you're doing that early pre-marketing, once you've got a visual of your product, the final visual or the ability to take photos of it, at that point, or video, at that point, you can start creating a lot of visual collateral. And today, the digital web thrives on visual collateral, video, photos. And again, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. That's because it is. So you don't want to write 1,000 words. You want to show people. And that will help them very quickly decide if they relate to your product. And hopefully, your product was designed to be relatable to the people who you're showing it to. If it is, then that creates what's called a virtuous cycle, which is a cycle whereby things get better and better over time, and don't require energy, but rather build energy. And so the kinds of activities that you do then are intended to capture those audiences. So late stage, pre-launch is all about capturing audiences. On Facebook, we will test audiences with ads. In email, we'll attempt to aggregate people. In communities, which is actually probably even more important than those two things, in communities of interest, we will try to build an early reputation. And that early reputation can be underscored by things like social video, YouTube, your own website or web platform, your own blogs, reviews, or other people talking about your product, either in the social web or in press. All of these things can help build kind of this collective body of knowledge, or social SEO in the web, and also word of mouth effects. So that when you finally get to the moment where you're prepared to actually pre-sell or actually sell your product, at that moment in time, you have folks to tap to be those earliest customers. They can then create word of mouth effects. When we're then able to, when we have real product availability and we're able to put your product into either retail or into digital stores like Amazon, there you actually have also whole spheres of either reviews or community feedback. And building those early reviews and early community feedback is absolutely critical to jumpstarting those products there. People rarely buy products that aren't reviewed on Amazon. So one of your earliest goals on Amazon is get people to review your product. And get people who really get your product to review your product so it's detailed and they include photos. You do everything you can to incentivize that behavior. It's tricky, but once you get to this critical mass of reviews, people who absolutely, positively love what you do, and they exhibit that online, you then reduce the friction to anyone who's coming out for the first time and says, I have a scratch on my leg. What's the best bandage for a scratch on my leg? And they can search and they'll find you. They'll go to Amazon, they'll find you, and they'll see that you're well reviewed. And therefore, they'll feel like their purchase is low risk, and they'll go ahead and click the button.
I think that's one of the ways. Now, I know a lot of you are like, how do you do that? How do you get people to do reviews? We have some great articles about that, but I want to challenge you to think of it in a little bit more controlled environment. So influencers are a great way to get reviews, get feedback first, then get a good review if you are working with a good influencer. So, your product's in the baby industry, right? So you would find mommy bloggers, and you would go approach them about giving you feedback about a product. If they love it, get the review from them, and then have them go, then you can negotiate maybe to get that out to their base. But think of it in terms of creating controllable environments where you can, if the product isn't what they want it to be, you're not getting a negative review, right? So you're very targeted, very strategic. That's what we do our whole influencer strategy around. We have shows on how to find and, contact influencers and be able to offer something to them, even in the beginning stages of a product launch, because a lot of influencers out there are willing to try a brand new product.
On the financial side, one of the challenges that new businesses have is as they go through the early life of their product, their costs and marketing costs are going up. And at the same time, and almost disturbingly, the business is not generating a lot of revenue. So what you're going to find is in the early life of business, there's a lot of financial pain. So to diminish financial pain, pre-selling is one tactic. Another tactic is if you've done pre-selling or have some effective feedback for your product, you can potentially raise some money. But in general, this is a very difficult testing point. Even Elon Musk talks about how in 2008, he had a series of early failures, which with SpaceX, Tesla was still on the ropes with the ramp on the Model 3, and all of his businesses were basically totally out of money and about to go under. He had a test launch at SpaceX, and that launch was successful. And on the basis of that launch, NASA basically came in and provided him a massive $1.something billion contract and saved SpaceX. And that was really the beginning of that great success story. But even the greatest kind of young start businesses, even at some points fairly late in their life, some businesses have a longer cycle, right? It's a long time to launch a rocket that actually works. There are these huge cash crunches. We know this is hard. So often this is case to case how you handle it. However, this marketing effort and the work you do into the early production of your product, if you create this, we'll call this marketing momentum, helps to create the opportunity called, the mainstream adoption cycle, which is where the money is made, and the long tail, which is that time afterwards where you can continue to basically milk the marketing momentum, the social SEO, and the good reputation you built with that product. I
was going to say, I know we're going to go into that too, but I just want to make a little, put a pin in this and just say that's one of the big things that people don't tell you, gurus don't tell you about launching, is that it is rarely profitable. Because there's so many, and you went into a little bit of it, but there's costs for tooling. There's all these costs that, low volume.
You have to tool marketing and tool production. There is this tooling in marketing that people never talk about.
Right. So it's rarely profitable, but like you said, building the momentum, and then the money, where the money is in the long tail. You just started to cover that. So I just wanted to make sure we kind of understood.
And even in the early start, right? Like I've worked with businesses where once we started selling, things got good quick. And when you've got a good product where it's structured right, the price is right, the margins are right, you can start to generate cash flow early. And then all of a sudden things can get a lot better. What's still challenging, especially in a fast growth business, let me explain. If you're building inventory on this level of sales, for this level of sales, the amount of cash seems relatively small as you try to climb that ramp. So in fast growth businesses, there's always pressure on working capital, even though it feels like in some ways a lot of things are better. To follow your own growth tail, a curve can be very expensive. So these things are all tricky to balance: marketing, product, production, financing. This whole business planning process requires lots and lots of writing things down. It's a big pain in the ass. Having said that, the rewards are tremendous. Again, if you build one of these successful new start businesses, you probably won't have to worry too much about what you do for the rest of your life.
And it's a lot of learning. So throughout this whole process, I think one of the other things that gurus don't tell you is that this is all new for you that are launching for your first time. You're going to learn a heck of a lot, and it's going to be It's going to be a process of like what worked, what didn't, what is getting traction, what isn't, and having team members there that can actually rein you back when you want to change things too fast. Most people, they react like a knee-jerk reaction when things are happening. They're not giving things the proper amount of time for them to actually get that traction and momentum. In my experience, they tend to like, oh, that didn't work, let's change it tomorrow.
That's right. Sometimes things take a little time to play out. Let's take some questions, Tessa.
Yes, if you guys have any questions about launch, the whole process of launching, but specifically you have two marketing people right here. So if you have questions on the marketing process, let us know in the chat. We had some great comments over there, though. I'm excited I'm reading through them. So I know, Sean, you definitely have a question. I just know it. Sean's working on launching. So we're talking about product. We app launching is slightly different, and we'll definitely do a show about app launching and how that's different, because there are some different things in it. But I mean, do you have anything while we're waiting for questions, Simon, that would be drastically different from an app to a product?
Yeah, there's a lot that's different. Apps live solely in the digital realm, and specifically they live in the digital mobile realm principally. And so all the activities you have to do have to drive transactions in that realm. And that's tricky. There's also app momentum, and the way in which that build is built and maintained is a little different than physical products, in particular where that happens and where that knowledge flows. Having said all of that, a lot of it comes down to our consumers having a good experience. And then are they expressing themselves to their friends and online in ways that help make your marketing more efficient? Because when other people are talking favorably about your product, it's work and money that you don't have to do or spend.
Right, absolutely. And I have something. Oh, here we go. How important, from Sean Reed, how important is the app website?
Yeah, it's probably pretty important, right? Not only is the app website important as kind of the de facto location, a lot of app websites are weak. So you can differentiate yourself with a good app website, lots of information and knowledge. People never do that. But like, I have some specialized apps that I use. And when I use those apps, if I can go to a website and it's like resource rich and people want to explain to me and tell me stuff, I'm a reader, I get super stoked. I'm like, I get it. This is real. These people are trying to solve my problem. Apps that don't have that and conceal all that and just assume, oh, he's going to get all that in the app, harder. So, but yeah, it depends on the audience and the type of app. But I really like app websites. But in particular, I like it when they have lots of content. YouTube channel.
I was going to say, you probably found out about him from a different source, though. The website isn't necessarily the place that they found out about the app. There's ads.
Usually not. But SEO can go lots of places. It can go to the app website, and of course, it can go to the app store itself. So there are all sorts of techniques which are built around driving social SEO to the app page with your mobile phone, and of course, specialized advertising.
Right, absolutely. Okay, so we have one more question. Pam, who is one of our partners, and if you're using a company to help with crowdfunding, which is also one of Simon's areas of expertise, how do you work together in marketing? And is it in parallel or one and the same? So I know we work with a crowdfunding and a specialist, really. And so LaunchBoom's one of the companies we partner with for our partners. So you're probably asking specifically about LaunchBoom in that case.
Well, also, Tessa, we do have the whole seminar we gave on Kickstarter, so we can probably just link to that, where we talk all about how you do a campaign and potentially how you use outside agencies. But the answer is own thy destiny.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
You have to own your own destiny, right? And you've got to assume that you own marketing and that the people you hire on are there to help you execute that vision. But you have got to own the master plan. And, often crowdfunding will focus on crowdfunding, especially, agencies that use like really specialized tools and methods to drive transactions during the crowdfunding period. That's their focus. They're not solving your whole marketing problem.
And then there's another depth to owning it, and that's make sure that everything's in your own accounts, your ad account, make sure that it's happening inside what you have access to, because some companies will do it within their own systems. And when you separate, you are on your own to go get that information again. So make sure you have Google Analytics and all of those big things that track your traction and activities on your website, your apps, your product landing pages, everything.
I want to address Odin's question. Odin asked, is there a specific marketing formula you use and what is it? Well, unfortunately, my best formula is experience. Experience plus an openness to being surprised, right? I've got this massive neural network that has been trained by, hundreds of consulting engagements and lots of successes and lots of failures. And so that thing just works. It's an engine. It's amazing. But the answer is I try to apply what I've learned and then be prepared to be surprised. I do say this, you can often break a few rules. You just can't break all the rules. You have to know which rules you're trying to break and make sure you're breaking the right ones and not the wrong ones.
Be careful on which rules you're breaking. But that is the value of having a team behind you, is that you're bringing in the experience from every, team member that's had this experience in fulfillment, that's had this experience in marketing or social media, or, that's the beauty of having a team behind you. So I do think that that's our formula. We can tell you some of the secrets from gurus, but we might not tell you all of the secrets from IdeaPros. I'm sorry. I love you guys.
No, but we take you through the process, right? When you're an IdeaPros partner, we do the initial
If you watch our blogs,
steps.
It's
all there.
Watch the videos that we do with Fred on Fridays, and you stay tuned on our blogs and actually follow these shows and ask questions, you're going to find out, the big picture and all of our secrets.
So remember, there is no launch.
There is no launch. I love it. Thank you guys all so much. And thank you, Simon. I appreciate you coming and hanging out with us on this lovely Friday. I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to say a couple things over to our loyal fans in the chat over here. So thank you, Simon. We appreciate you. All right, guys. So I see, you know what? I just want to say, it's Valentine's weekend, and I'm not going to be all lovey-dovey, but I kind of want to say something really important to all of our entrepreneurs that are watching, and that's, I love you guys. I love entrepreneurs. I love supporting entrepreneurs and what we get to do on a weekly basis, but what I get to do, what IdeaPros gets to do for entrepreneurs on a daily basis is so rewarding. I just have to say thank you guys. We love you and appreciate you. But if nothing else, on, Valentine's, all the lovey-dovey things are out there, just take a minute to love yourself and your idea, and just really spend some time in your own doing things for yourself. And that's a huge, huge thing on these kinds of weekends, which some people are really happy about. Some people hate these weekends and holidays. So just remember that you can always love you anytime. So appreciate you guys. And I know we have a lot of new people here today. So Ed, I see you over on YouTube. Mary, Michael, Jason, Donna, Stephanie, you know what? Thank you guys for being so committed. Katie, Sherry, I see you all. Corey over there. Odin, Sean, obviously, Nathan. We appreciate you guys taking the time and coming every Friday at noon Pacific time. Hit the reminder bell before you guys take off so that you get notifications when we go live. And if you have questions that you want to ask, we actually got a lot of really good questions after our last show for topics that we need to cover. If there's something you don't think we've covered yet, even if we covered it and it didn't make sense, maybe we have another person from our team that can actually give you a different perspective on a topic. So let us know. We have a Q&A form in the post, and you can submit a question to us. Oh, hi, Matt. Good to see you. Nathan, Gloria, Cassiano. I hope I said your name right. It's so good to see you. Yadira, again, I'm horrible with names, so feel free to send me an audio file so I know how to pronounce your name. Vanessa, Ken over at Crash Pad Products. I know we have Leticia, Aziza with Raw Beauty Co., Michael P. Ryan with Recite. We have, and Pam with Sports. It is Playoff Sports. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being here. And I have to say, because today is just one of those days, I have an amazing item to show you guys. I am going to show you Twistlet. So this is one of our partners. I am so excited because I wanted this purse in particular. I know, right? Take it. I didn't even see you, Winona. I was going to pull this out before I actually kept. I didn't even see you. So Winona is on our live right now. This is Twistlet, and it's gorgeous. This is actually one of the IdeaPros partner products. I just have to show it off. And she actually has a little pouch in here, and normally it's attached so you can pull out your ID and not get it lost. And this is great for, I know I don't get to go to clubs very much anymore, but I would imagine this would be really nice to have at the clubs. I know, it's so cute, isn't it? I have to show you guys. Okay, so the trick of it is there's one side that's longer, so you just slip it in, and then you can put it on your wrist, and then your hands free, and then you can put you can put your wallet or your phone or lipstick or whatever you want in it. And I cannot tell you how soft this, even sequins are super, super soft. So it's not itchy. I mean, I thought maybe it was going to be a little bit like, every other product that has cheap sequins. This is meshed in. They're super soft. And then it has like a velvet lining. So you have to check out twistletnola.com. I am going to promote it now. You guys can see the site before IdeaPros gets a hold of it because IdeaPros is redesigning the website. And then we're also adding lovely affiliate features to it. There's a lot of things that are going to be on there, but I'm buying these and actually giving them as prizes and everything because they're so gifts, everything. So love our partners, love our products, love our apps. You guys check them out. So Twistlet Nola. And if you have any questions about it, let me know. And we'll see you guys all next Friday. Have a great weekend. Have an awesome, awesome weekend. And I will make sure to bring you guys the best information possible every single week. Have a good one. Bye, everyone.